So before we carry on, we've sort of got halfway through programming the sections. It is recommended now that we save what we've done. So with a floppy disk, or if you've got a USB modification, make sure you've got your floppy disk in. Just go to disk, and we want to save all. I'm going to save all because at the beginning of the video series I did factory reset it, so we're not going to save over any of the other data. So if we hit save on all, illegal input, oh yeah, because we need to choose a file name. Okay, so I'm just going to go for AAA. Just keep it nice and simple. Save that. Make sure your floppy disk is has the right protection switched off on the little tab, and then are you sure? Yes. And that's done. So exit that, and then just with your floppy disk, only because this is ancient technology, you might not have come across a floppy disk before, you've got a little tab where you can protect the disk, and you won't be able to write any data to it, or if you slide it back, whoops, you can write on your floppy disk. Okay, so the next section, which we're going to put on section I, is the arpeggiated synth again, but this time we get that first main melody coming in. So I'm going to take it out of section mode, make sure it's in track 3, which is our synth. I don't want any phrase set, so I want to start a new phrase, and this is, which I've already done, set it to 8 bars in length, because that's how the melody goes over the 8 bars. So the melody goes B, down to D, back up to G, A, down to B. Sorry, down to D. So let's try and record that in. So if I record, overdub, and let's just get this put in. Okay, we're in the wrong octave, so all we're going to do is just undo that. Overdub record, yep, we want to undo that, exit, and then we should have nothing. Alright, so make sure we're in the right octave now, and away we go. Okay, now I need to get, let's just have a listen to that. And then I need to go in the right place. So want to make sure we're in overdub so we don't replace anything, and away we go. Okay, so let's see. And then the next section would be back up an octave. When we get to bar 5, no, let's just see. So record, overdub. Okay, I think we've got it, and then those last couple of notes, which again is a D. I'm trying not to mess it up. I think I got that. Let's have a look. that's not quite perfect, but it's 99% there, if I do say so myself. So we are going to go to patch, and we'll name this phrase phrase name, select, and I'm just going to call this a PP R Mel for melody. Okay, that's done. And at this point I'm just going to save this now, so I'm just going to save all the data on the RM1x. Yes. It's always good when you've done something and you're happy with it to save it, because you never know. Exit out of that. Now what we need is the bass. So it is a new section, so we're going to leave this blank, and we want it on track 2. So track 2, which is our bass, and we're going to punch this in manually because this is quite easy if I can remember how it goes listening to the tracks. So if we come out of that, hit record, go into grid mode, hit play, we want to hold down shift, this G for the first 4 bars, so we're on measure 1, want it there, there, there and there. Oops. And if we go across, we want it there, there, there and there again, across again, there, there, there and there, and on the 4th bar, there, there, there and there. Now on bar number 5, or measure number 5, it now goes up to the D. So we want that there, 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 there. So we've got that da-da, 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 and there. So it's fairly straightforward bass line. And then last measure is the same again, there. So if we stop that and go across, let's just see what we get. Okay, so that's done. What I'm going to do is just turn down the melody track. So if we go to track 3, and then we want track volume, we can see the volume here adjusting when we adjust the track volume knobs. So let's just to take the edge off it. So that is pretty much section I done. Okay, so now that the first main melody is done with the bass, what happens after that is the beat comes back in. So this will be section J, and this should be quite easy now because this is just adding sections, phrases that we've already programmed. Just to recap on I, on track 2. We haven't renamed the bass, and on track 3 we've called it arpeggiated melody, so I'm just quickly going to rename this. So phrase 12, select, and I'm just going to call it bass space G. Where's the and? There it is. G and B. Okay to that. So when we look at the patch, track 2 is bass G and B, and track 3 is the arpeggiated melody. So let's head over to section J and put in for track 2, use a phrase bass G and B, phrase number 12. For track 3, we want to put in number 11, which is the arpeggiated melody. It sort of seems to be remembering what we last put in as a phrase. And then on track 16, this should be user phrase, bass drum, snare drum, closed hi-hat and ride cymbal. And now they're all obviously saying that they're greater than the measure of 1. Let's just go back to pattern and see what happens when we play this. So it's saying section J is only 1 measure long, but it is playing the full 16 bars. But what we'll just do, just in case, is we'll extend section J up to 16, and let's see what we get. Okay, so that's pretty simple put together. Let's just have a look at the voice on track 3. So if we go to voice, whoops, back to section J, take it out of section. So what I've got on the voice here is no attack. If I adjust the attack, it's the amount of time it takes for the sound to come in. The decay is all the way up to 63. So the amount of time I hold the note will last forever. But you notice with the release, I've set it to plus 15. So when I release the note, the sound still continues on for a value of 15. If I put it down to 0, this is because I've got the reverb, but it does finish pretty much when I let go of the key. Then on the effects, we've got no echo, but we've got a bit of flanger on the chorus. So you can see the chorus is related to the flanger. So I've got flanger 1, and then the reverb, which right from the beginning of the video we put on the like congas or bongos, is room number 1. And then with the knob unhighlighted, you can give your sound the appropriate amount of effects. So if we turn the reverb off, obviously we lose that atmosphere. So the reverb on that is quite high. The chorus, or the flanger should I say, just gives it that sort of slightly detuned, or almost appears to give it that slightly detuned effect. And then I don't think we've got any echo, because we don't need it on the melody, but we will be using it later on. So let's just exit out of that. If we go to track 2, and look at the voice edit, sorry. We haven't changed that voice. We've still got it on MG Bass 2. I can't recall if we did have any effects on it. Let's have a look. No, didn't have any reverb. We're certainly not going to have any flanger on it, and no echo, because it's just, it's a bass line, so don't tend to add too many effects onto bass tracks. And then, so that's that section done, and a little look at the voices. Track 3. To me, it's got a bit too much low end frequencies. If it's going to fit into the track perfectly, in an ideal world we would have this voice on a separate track on the mixing desk, and we'd just EQ off that lower end. Unfortunately, we can't do it on here because we don't have independent outputs for the different tracks. It all comes out of one either mono or stereo output. What you could do is you do have EQ. So if we remember, that's on echo. I think we have got an EQ option there. So we've got free band EQ. So if we go to the next effect, we could trim off the low end, but we need our echo, we need the effects that we're going to use. So let's just exit out of that and put that back to echo. It's all about finding the right sound on the onboard sounds that fit into the mix, but that's the closest sound I've been able to find at the moment. So that's section J done. Okay, so for the next section, section K, effing cuts out and we go into this different melody that really gives a sense that we're you know, in this void. It's very spacey, so
is there life? Is there life on Mars?
This track I've put on track 4, and the voice I've used is still on bank 63 for our synth, bass and lead, but we're on star lead, so we get this kind of when it goes back to the beginning. So I think what we have is 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4, etc, etc. So it takes a little bit of practice to know when the notes change, but let's see if we can record that in, and we'll have a little look at the modifications I've done to the voice to get it to sound like that. There's a little bit of portamento on it. So section K, does it run over 8 bars? I think it runs over 8 bars. And then patch, we want no phrase, because obviously this is a new phrase now. So let's record in overdub. So this might take a couple of tries, but let's have a go. 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4. Okay, let's see what we get. 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4. Okay, so that's basically that section done. What you'll find is if you listen to the track, it slowly comes in, and you can kind of control that live. We're not going to bother programming that in. What we need to do is name the phrase so we don't get lost. So shall we call this, space melody, Mars melody, as long as you can remember what it's called. There we go, that fits in quite nicely. Exit that. So on the voice, we've got star lead, we've got to voice edit, we've got an attack of 7, only because it just gives a nice sweep in. We've got a decay of 63, so it will stay forever, but we've got no release because we've got a bit of effects. And then if we go to the second voice, if we go to voice edit, press it again, we've got portamento on and a portamento time of 65. So that means if I go from here up to here, we get that slide. So we get that nice kind of slide. If I turn this down, we get, doesn't sound the same. So let's put this back to 65. And I don't think I touched anything else. Obviously all I did as well is just messed around with the resonance until it sounded right to me, and then with the effects, I think there's a slight bit of echo. Oops, I'm actually adjusting the cutoff, bear with me. Make sure your knob selection's unhighlighted. There's a slight bit of echo. There's a slight bit of flanger, and there's probably a little bit of reverb, but because we've got quite a long release tail on there, it doesn't really matter. So to recap, that's section K done. Okay, so in the next section we have this melody.
Is there life on Mars?
Which I've put on track 5, and the voice for that is bank 23 and program 38, which is square B. I've done a little modification to the sound, only mainly with the echo, but we'll come back to that. So the melody for this section sort of goes. So thankfully it's all over 1 octave, so we'll try and record this in live. Might take a couple of attempts, but let's have a look. So if we go to pattern, and again to patch, we want this again on a new phrase. Okay, here we go. See what we get. Okay, I did hit a bum note there. Let's just see where it is. Measure 5. So if I record grid mode and go to measure 5, I'm pretty sure I hit where is it? Let's hit play, that would help. Okay, it was that one. So we need to take that one off on 3, and it should be that one on 3. So let's have a look again. Stop that. Go back to the beginning. It's a bit better. Okay, so that's not perfect, and I admit that, you know, that's not perfect by any means, but obviously for this tutorial, you get the principle. Your keyboard playing might be a bit better than mine. So I'm just going to go ahead and rename this phrase, and I'm running out of name ideas now, so let's just call this square melody. Sounds the most obvious. Whoops. So oh, hold on, wrong one. Start again. You know what, I'm just going to call it square. Keep it simple. Alright, there's no acknowledgement for that, so that's done. So if we look at the patch, on track 4 we've got that spacey melody, and then we've got our new square melody on 5. And what we can do, track 5, is just add that variation on, which is the effect of echo. And if I press again and get to echo, I've got the delay set at, if I hold down shift, the left channel delay, let's just set it to 200, and the right channel delay, let's just set that at 200 as well. And I think the left and right channel feedback is just the default 16. Okay. Alright, so I've put that on section K, which we don't want to do that. So if we go back to section L, So I go back to section K. 5 is no user phrase, so we've just got, so we need to actually go to section L, which was my mistake at the beginning, and then track 4 needs to be, did we name this? Oh, user, do we call it space? Okay, space melody. And then track 5 needs to be user phrase square. So we have okay, so that's sorted now. Apologies for that. If we go to track 5, okay, so we've added reverb to track 5. Each effect is, the amount of effect that you add is only applies to that track. So let's, I think it was at 28. Let's apply the reverb to that, and then on track 5 we would have a different amount of reverb, section L. Okay, so these amounts aren't global, they're per track, but if you go to the effect, each effect you've got is global. So if we change the reverb to something like distortion, it's going to go back and distort the sounds on the intro. Let's just give that a test. So actually you can't, can you, because it's reverb, so it needs to be a different kind of reverb. So what did we have it on? Was it room 1? Okay, ignore that. So we are now, section L is now complete. Obviously if you're not happy with it, it's just slightly too much reverb on that. Okay, just messing about with the reverb now, but we'll crack on. So that's basically section L done.